Okay, so we're back with another cooking video. Today, calling this like mystery pasta. Okay, there's a restaurant in Rome that is my favorite restaurant. It's called Zio Umberto, and it's in Trastevere. And every time we go, they're so nice. They always give us, have this pasta, and Like the third time I've been there and they've brought us this pasta, I don't know the name of it, but they brought us a pasta and it was like a fettuccine type of noodle with guanciale, pepperoncino, and Parmesan cheese, and I think butter. So this is me trying to recreate a dish that I tasted in Rome, and we're gonna see if I can nail it. But I feel like I know there's butter in it. I don't know why, it just has a buttery flavor. Anyhow, our ingredients are very simple. We have Parmesan cheese, Parmigiano Reggiano, butter. We have guanciale, crushed red pepper flakes, and tagliatelle. Okay, so we'll just start with our cheese. This is the, that's so delicate. I'm gonna break this fucking cheese. If you had to pick your favorite cheese, Chris, what would it be? Yeah, this is pretty much Parmesan. There's no.
What about not Parmesan?
I guess pecorino. Is that bad? Mozzarella, like fresh mozzarella. I love ricotta. I love mascarpone because mascarpone you can do a million things with it. Yeah, Italians have a lot of really good cheese. Scamorza. I think this is enough Parmesan cheese, but you never know. So I'm gonna put a little more. I bought a younger Parmesan cheese. I bought 18 months, and I know there's rules because my friend from Padua was explaining to me like how you're supposed to eat Parmesan cheese, and it's like at certain ages, it's like when you can eat it. It's good. Yeah, Parmesan cheese is number one. I think that's enough, right? For one person. What am I doing? This restaurant I love. That's the restaurant that we went to in the video, if you've not seen it, that Chris and I did where we go to Rome. It's like Matteo. It's the first one. We were at Umberto. And they're like, they set the table and they're like, help us lift the table. And they don't have any, absolutely everything is on the table. The wine, everything. They're all picking it up and moving it. And that's when my friend Tezzetto was like,
in Africa, we don't do that.
She was so funny. So when you're cooking guanciale, first of all, you don't put it with any extra virgin olive oil. No oil, no butter, no nothing. It can cook by itself. All the white part of the guanciale is just fat. And so the fat is gonna act as your cooking agent. So it should turn transparent first, all the fat. And then after the fat starts to sort of crisp up and turn golden, that's when you stop. Because if you do too much, the guanciale can be like, you know, like when you fry bacon way too much, and then you're just like, so that's what you're trying to avoid with il guanciale. This recipe, I'm not cooking it in the guanciale oil. I'll keep some of the oil, but I'm just gonna use the guanciale because it was, to me, I feel like they added guanciale to an already finished pasta dish. It didn't feel like it was cooked in the oil of the guanciale. So I'm gonna cook the guanciale and then I'm going to reserve some of the oil, but I'm mainly gonna focus on this, which to me is just like another version of fettuccine alfredo. I feel like it's just butter, Parmesan, and then red pepper flakes. Like, who wouldn't love that? So I think so. Do you remember this dish, Chris?
I don't think we got it when I went.
They gave it to us. I've had it 3 times with them because we like to order. Francesco DiCarlo is gonna kill me. In Italy, I break a rule. I wanna try all the pastas, so we order a pasta for the table, usually cacio e pepe, so we can use it as an appetizer. They brought us this one. This is the 3rd time I had it, so I'm like, okay, it's good. I don't know what it is, but it has a very butteriness to it. So I'm just gonna go with my gut and I'm gonna throw some butter in it.
When are you gonna add the butter?
I'm gonna do it, I think I'm gonna do it the same way that I do fettuccine alfredo, where I bring the butter into the hot pasta, mix it and bring in the pasta, the Parmesan, bring in the pasta water, pepperoncino, and then bring in the guanciale. I think that will be the recipe. It's weird to sort of like reverse engineer a recipe, you know what I mean? Just because it's like you're trying to think of like what, sometimes you taste a flavor, I'm like, is that butter? And then I'm like, oh, maybe that's just the oil from the guanciale. Like, am I fucking this up? But I'm just gonna reserve a little bit of oil. I feel like I can't hurt anybody by doing that, right? But to me, it was not the background of the dish, but it was just sort of like the added, it was sort of like a character in a play that was throughout. But it wasn't the main character. So I brought Rodrigo to Italy for the first time. He's never been to Italy. He's from Mexico. And Italian and Latin America have a lot of similarities in culture, language, religion, family, cousins, all that kind of stuff. But you know, Italians are just so intense. So we go to dinner for the first night and every single person is talking with their hands. And he looked at me and he goes, I can't believe that they're actually talking with their hands. And then at one point he tried asking for chicken at Zio Umberto and they were like, no. And they're like, no chicken? He goes, no, we have rabbit. So he goes, okay. So they just feed feed him rabbit. He's like, who made the decision who's eating what here? And it's like, the waiters do. Then he couldn't get used to the order in which you have to eat things, pasta first, then the meat. He's like, no, I'm Mexican, we can just eat it however we want it. And the Italians are like, you have to eat it this way. And at one point we went to this really nice restaurant above like the Coliseum, like you could see the Coliseum. And before we go in, we hadn't eaten anything because we knew we were gonna eat a lot that night. He goes, I think I'm gonna get a gelato. And my friend Edo and his friend get in his face like, you can't do that, what do you do the gelato? Am I gonna get ruined? Why? And I was like, oh my God, like they're just so intense. So Rodrigo, needless to say, loved Italy. But I think he was a little taken aback by how intense the Italians are about how they eat their food. He loved it though. So we were at this like really nice fancy restaurant, which by the way, I think it's called Aroma. Yes, it's called Aroma Restaurant. And it takes like months to get a reservation. And I messaged with Nicholas, who did our Alla Norma video. We messaged the chef that he knew. And I said, I'm coming to Italy next week. Can I please get a reservation? And they were like, Matteo, of course, Matteo. So we go. It's so fancy, like it's so highfalutin. And we're sitting there, there's a couple next to us. They were so cute, they were Scottish. And at one point they started playing like music. And I go out loud, I'm like, the fuck, are we in a wedding? Because it was like wedding music. And I could see him like, and then he like gets on one knee and I'm like, and then the whole restaurant was like, oh my God. And then she was like, I love you. It was so cute. And then I tried buying them champagne, and then I don't think the waitstaff told them it was me. I felt like in Wicked, I'm like, it's me! Okay, I think those are done. They look done to me. So for this, I'll keep them so they don't get too soggy. People are gonna hate that I'm using metal on metal, but you know what? This is all I have, so deal with it. I should get a registry so people can buy me. People kept asking me, like, what's your registry? I was like, registry? I live in New York City. I don't have space for another goddamn thing. Keep it away from me. So I'm just gonna reserve this guanciale. I'm gonna put it on the side. Our pasta water is almost done boiling. With this pasta will cook in 3 minutes. Let's see how long it says. Cooking time, 2 to 3 minutes. Okay.
Are you gonna use that oil?
I'll use some of it if I feel it's necessary, but I might not. We'll see. We're making this recipe up as we go along. I don't really know how I'm supposed to... Okay. Well, that was an ordeal. I'm gonna do a little less this time. I'm gonna have some goddamn decency and do just a little less than I usually would. But 2 to 3 minutes, so I'm gonna put 2 minutes on. So I have some really sad news. I have voice nodules because probably karma for making fun of Mariah Carey for so many years. I overused my voice touring, so I did it for you. So I went to an ENT person and she was like, you know, it's a small nodule, but you have to rest your voice and you have to not sing and you have to not have any coffee because it's caused by a lot of acid reflux. I'm like, I can't have coffee. So I'm not really having coffee this week and I feel like I'm on drugs. I feel like I'm on fucking drugs. But you know what? I feel like that girl, like I have nodes in Pitch Perfect. I'll get my voice back, but I knew something was wrong because over the summer, like I couldn't sing anything. Like I couldn't sing at all. I'm like, God damn it. All right, let's put the pasta in. Let's put 2 minutes on. We'll reserve some of the pasta water because we're gonna do kind of a fettuccine Alfredo thing. We're getting the butter. I wonder if this is right. I mean, I've never even heard of the dish. I think they made it up. So now it's just a dish that they have. But if it's good, we're keeping it. We'll put it in the book. I feel like I'm looking at a science experiment. Let's try one. Oof. A little longer. So a kind of fresh pasta like this, I mean, you have to be very careful. It says 2 minutes of cooking. It literally in 40 seconds, the whole texture of this pasta is gonna change completely. I would say this needs like 1 more minute and then it can go. There's, by the way, people I feel are often confused about fresh pasta versus dry pasta. Neither one's better. It's just for different sauces, that's it. So people are like, oh, it's fresh pasta. Like they're just spitting on dry pasta. 1, I prefer dry pasta, throwing it out there. And 2, fresh pasta is it's literally just for specific sauces. Oh God. We're there. Oops, I'm not supposed to sing. Okay. I always think of the barefoot contestant when I do this. Like getting myself a facial. Fabulous is that. Oh my God, yes, I'm making it. By the way, from anyone who's not seen my special, Hair Plugs and Heartache, which is out on YouTube now, thanks. I talk about a couple people on the British Bake Off, Rosie and Bryony, I think is how you say her name. And they both reached out to me.
No way!
And Bryony, she is so sweet, because I made a joke about her hand. Not making fun of her hand, making fun of the American watching the show, not understanding, like, you know, because the British people didn't even talk about it. So, ooh, this is too much. What am I, Matteo? How much butter did I just, what is wrong with me? Okay, here, well, let's cook first, and then we can talk about the British Bake Off. Okay, just gonna mix this in. And then, similar to how you make authentic fettuccine alfredo from Alfredo alla scrofa, we're gonna add Parmesan cheese. I'm not gonna use all of it, just use some. And then, just a little bit of pasta water, you guys. I mean like a drop. Just a little bit, because this will, you don't wanna add too much, so just a little more. I think that's literally it. I need to get a ladle. I mean, I have one, but here we are. I feel like this is a good consistency. So I'm gonna add a little red pepper flake, just a little. And then I'm gonna bring in our guanciale. This does look like it. Like this is what it looks like when they serve it to us. This looks good, actually. I bet you they came up with it because they have so much extra guanciale. They're like, just throw it in something. Jesus Christ, we don't have time. Okay, let's give it a shot. Ooh, look at that. Okay, this is it. Let's see if it tastes just like Umberto's. This looks really good. This is another version of carbonara. Yeah, yes. It's really good. It does have that. I almost might have added too much guanciale, but it does taste like it. I doubt that Umberto uses butter. Maybe the butter was not the move for this. Maybe just pasta water. Honestly, this is fucking dope. So the British Bake Off people are reaching out to me. They're like, thank you so much, or we loved it. Rosie was so funny. They have such a good sense of humor. She was like, I can't understand myself sometimes. And then Bryony goes, Matteo Lane's talking about me. I love it, and I still won't tell you what happened in my hand. I was like, here are tickets to my show. I want to meet you backstage. She was so sweet. And then Mel B from the Spice Girls messaged me. Ask anyone, Scary Spice was my favorite. Well, this is it. This is our mystery pasta from Umberto. I think I fucking nailed it. We'll see you next time. Arrivederci. To see me on the road, go to MatteoLaneComedy.com.